Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Good evening. Nice to have you all here. I'm Glory Joseph, as most of you already know, and I'm pleased to welcome you to the second series of the New Weeks Coaching Series. Joining me today is our guest speaker, Maudlin Okunade. And because of the discussion, I will introduce her proper. So, as we introduce ourselves now, let's get to meet you in the chat box. What's your name and where are you joining from? I think we have a minute for that. What's your name and where are you joining from? Okay, let's assume I already know your names. So the aim of this coaching series is to explore diverse career opportunities within the legal sector. That way, you gain clarity with regards to the career path to choose for yourself. So from this second series onwards, you get to listen to experts from different fields of law as they give you insights with regards to their own area of specialization. And today we'll be starting with corporate practice, more precisely business law, business advisory. So before I call on the guest speaker to speak on her area of specialization, I'll quickly do an overview of the various career paths within the legal profession. After which, I'll share with you 5 tips that will help you identify your own area of interest. And conclusively, I'll share 5 tips too that will help you build your expertise in that particular area of law. And then I'll now call on our guest speaker. So, yes, we have Modin Okunade from, from UK. Yes. So, I'll quickly share my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
All right, fine. So, New Weeks Coaching Series, exploring diverse career opportunities within the legal sector. So, one of the career paths you can choose for yourself is corporate practice. And under corporate practice, we have business advisory, mergers and acquisition, then capital markets on a more broader form. Then we also have real estate, property law. That's the new oil. That's gold mine. Everybody's investing. So that's also another area of law you can specialize in. Then we also have fintech law and regulation. Then IP law. That one is a 21st century law. Like everybody is talking about IP law. Then we have data protection and privacy law. Then we also have information technology law, tech law. Everybody's talking about tech law. Then we all have banking, finance, and insurance. Then debt recovery, insolvency, and bankruptcy. Most law firms are into this actually. I heard it's a very creative area of law. Then we have fashion law, a very unique area of law. Then we have taxation, employment law, arbitration, mediation, immigration law. Everybody wants about. So this area of law is also very lucrative. Then we also have entertainment law, sports and gaming law. Then media, telecommunications law. Then maritime and admiralty law. Then we have international law as another career path. And under the international law, you see where I added some areas too. ITL, that's international trade law. IHL, international humanitarian law for those who want to work in the NGOs. Then we have aviation law, energy law. So these are some, or would I say, major career paths within the legal profession, which you can actually explore. So I'll quickly share a pool so that you can choose the particular area that interests you, as that will guide subsequent series. It will guide what I'll cover in subsequent series. So you quickly choose for yourself the particular area that interests you the most. Can you guys see the pool?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys can quickly click on the one that interests you most, as is with this pool I would use to It will guide subsequent series. Can you guys still see the pool?
No, please.
Okay. Let's go on. I would share it in the course of the discussion. So now, how can you identify your particular area of interest? I'm going to share with you 5 tips that will help you identify your area of interest. And before I share that 5 tips, I'd love to point out 3 things that you'll keep in mind. The first point is this: it's okay if you are not yet sure about the particular area of law to specialize in. It's okay if now you are trying to discover yourself and determine what you want to do after service and all that. It's perfectly fine. Probably you might be saying that some of my colleagues already have a clear idea of what they want to do when they were in university. They were already writing publications as to what they want to do. They already knew what they want to do right from university days. They are still trying to struggle. It's fine. It doesn't make them smarter than you are. It doesn't place them an edge ahead of you, because it's a time you need to explore before determining the particular area that fits in with your strengths. I was telling my staff the other day that when I was in university, most of my colleagues were choosing courses like IP law, intellectual property law, and I was doing the conventional aspect of law, like family law and labor law, So most of them already knew what they wanted to do. But you never can tell the background they grew in. You don't know if probably they grew up in a family of lawyers. Their uncles are lawyers. They were able to intern throughout their university days, right from 100 level to final year. They were joining law firms to intern. It's very possible. So, but that doesn't keep them ahead of you. The fact that they already know what they want to do. Like for me, I never really interned throughout my university days. My first courtroom experience was actually during a court extension. Yes, when I started practice proper, I was able to do well for myself. So do not worry if you are still trying to determine what you want to do for yourself. It's fine. In fact, that takes me to my second point. Is a process. This is a time of discovery. This is a time for you to explore. Some persons already know what they want to do. Eventually, they even tend to change. And there are very few. This point in the minority. So explore, enjoy the process, lay your hands on many practice areas as possible before you get to determine the one that fits in with your strength. Subsequently, I'll talk more about how you determine your area of strength. So the third point I want you to make clear to you is this. Most of us are, after service, after law school, we actually posted to law firms or some Ministry of Justice. If you find out that you are finding it hard to probably catch up with litigation, you're finding it hard to provide answers to diverse legal problems that are posed at you, and it seems your colleagues are catching up and you are struggling with litigation, courtroom appearances, courtroom procedures, it doesn't mean that you're not meant for law. That's not true. While it's true that everybody grows at different pace, probably in the long run, when you get to practice, you get to learn the ropes of legal practice, it's possible. But if in the long run, you're finding it difficult to catch up with litigation, it could also be that there's another area of law where you will excel in. It could also be that that's where your strength lies, not necessarily litigation. So if now, as a newbie or as a young lawyer struggling with litigation, and you've been trying to put forth all the effort to do your best, and it seems you're not catching up, it could mean that there's another area of law where you excel in. So let's now find out, how will you determine that area of law? How will you determine your own area of interest that you could excel in? I'll share with you 5 tips that will help you in this regard. The very first tip is this: know your strengths. Knowing your strength is very important, because tying in your area of interest to where your strength lies, the likelihood of excelling is higher, and you'll be able to reach your potential, because that is where your strength lies. So how can you determine what your strength is in the legal profession? The first thing you should take note of is, what tasks do you enjoy doing? As your principal assigns duties to you, probably it gives you property matters to handle. Okay, Glory, or probably, let me say, Justina, go and prepare that claim for a tenancy suit. Or maybe he gives you a litigation matter to handle, or maybe a corporate matter to handle. As you're carrying out these duties, which of these tasks do you enjoy doing? Which of them comes easily to you? Which are you passionate about? Which one makes you energetic whenever you're carrying it out? Which are you enthusiastic to carry out? So there's a high likelihood that the tasks that you enjoy doing among the various tasks your principal assigns to you is actually where your strength lies. I'll give you a short example that would help you determine what I'm trying to say. When I started legal practice, I've always been passionate about litigation, basically. But I noticed that mastering courtroom procedures came easily to me. It was easy for me to master courtroom procedures and all the technicalities involved with courtroom matter. Whenever other lawyers are trying to argue on points of law or cross-examining, I'm able to flow with their thoughts. It's something I enjoy doing. It just came easily with me. My colleagues then used to wonder how I'll just sit down reading case files. Whenever I come, when I start practicing, I'll just sit down reading case. So every day I'll read like as much as 2 a day. That's why I wouldn't really give opinion. My colleagues wondering what I'm enjoying in those case files. But because this was an area of law I enjoyed, it was obvious. There was no telling that this was what I liked. Then my colleague that was struggling to read maybe 1 case file a day, he will wonder how I do it. But there was also an area where he enjoyed doing. Whenever my principal gives him contract to draft, you see the light in his eyes. Before you know it, you quickly draft it. If it's a letter, he's very good in it. So that is the task he actually enjoys doing. It doesn't make me better than him because he's not good in litigation. No. I know if you guys are getting my point. Then I also had a colleague of mine to then when I started practicing. I can count how many times he went to court just throughout our service year. Whenever my principal assigns to him corporate matters, all these bank, financial, corporates, you see how enthusiastic he is in doing it. He sought ways to improve. So those are indicators to tell you that it seems this is where my area of strength is. Whenever you're enthusiastic about a particular area of task that your principal assigns you. Then finally, I also had a colleague of mine that when it comes to litigation, she's so vibrant. Whenever she's doing witness prepping, you could just see the way she's vibrant, as if her life depends on it. So it's obvious that she enjoys that area of law. But when it comes to corporate practice, she was always struggling with it then. It wasn't something that was just that came easily to her. It wasn't natural to her. So what's my point to telling you all these? I won't call them stories. It happened in real life. Your area of strength will be determined on how you approach tasks that are given to you. The how, the attitude, the display, whenever you're handling various tasks that you're given to you. That's why it's actually advisable as you start up practice. Can you guys still hear me? I hope so. Okay. As you start up practice now, it's actually advisable to lay your hands on different practice areas. That's the only way you get to know which of the tasks you enjoy doing. And when you know which of the tasks you enjoy doing, that's where your strength lies. Something else that will help you determine where your strength lies is what are you good at, or probably what fits in your personality. If you know you're the type of person that loves analyzing cases, that's case analysis, or probably you're always on the move, you're spontaneous, court matters appeals to you. If you're that type of person, sitting in one place bores you. That means you know that when it comes to corporate matters, that handling complex paperwork and concentrating might not fit you. Maybe you're the type of person that is meticulous, you love paperwork, complex paperwork, sitting in one place from morning to evening, handling all these M&A, capital market, then that fits your personality. So these are two things that will help you know what your area of strengths are, what tasks you enjoy doing, what's fitting your personality, or what you are good at. And then something else that will enable you to is what are you not good at? That sounds odd, right? But it can also do you good if you're able to narrow down or rule out things you know you are not necessarily good at. Like my colleague was telling me that he was in taxation at some point, and because he's not good with maths, he couldn't catch up. And this guy is very good. Nobody told him to move to another area of law. So if you know that you're not good in a particular thing, probably you're not good in maths, you know that taxation will not fit you. Like me, I don't like anything financial, bank, don't just call me. It doesn't just appeal to me, it doesn't interest me. Something I know I'm not good in. So you can begin to rule out those areas that you know you're not good in. Because if you know if you're not good in it, your strength doesn't lie there. And the likelihood of excelling is very low. And then something else that will help you determine what your strength is this. Let's assume there's nothing like money. Let's move money out of the equation, like no salary and all that. Let's assume what particular task you really enjoy doing, there's nothing like money attached to it. So I don't mean it, of course, that's not a reality, but that's also something else that will help you determine something that comes easily to you. If there's nothing like money, right? Then I've mentioned your area of strength as something that will help you determine your area of interest. Something else that can also help you determine what your area of interest is if you research. If you get to research on different areas of law, you hear about fintech, you research on it, data privacy, you research on it. As you're researching on these different areas of practice, naturally, there will surely, or there might be a particular area that you tend to research more on because it appeals to you. So that one too is also another way to identify your area of interest, researching on various areas of law. So the third point that would help you determine your area of interest is when you network with people from different fields. Like when you attend webinars like this and you get to listen to speakers from different areas talk about their own area of interest, as you listen to them, as they tell you what the particular legal service they offer their clients, one of those areas might interest you. So the more you hear people from different areas of law talk about their own area of specialization, that too can be one way you can identify your area of interest. So the fourth point now is this one is more, I won't call it informal, but it happened to me. As I told you, I always love litigation. But I needed to look around me. What particular legal services do my family members need? As I told you, it's an informal way of identifying your area of interest, but it's also a way. I looked around me. What particular legal service do my family members need? My dad has a company. I was like, okay, so why shouldn't I be their corporate lawyer? Why shouldn't I be my expertise in that area and specialize in it? Because this is a particular legal service they need. And because I'm trying to prove my worth to them, I'm the family lawyer, I can do it for you, as I'm trying to prove my worth, my passion will increase, I will enjoy it, and my area of strength will lie there. So that is also something else you can do. Look around you. Probably you say, okay, my father's not, there's no legal services that my family members need. What if they're civil servants? Civil servants love buying properties, so to speak, yes. So I you decide to go into real estate because your father wants to buy property, for example. Well, of course, he will call other colleagues of his, my child is into real estate too. So this is like an example. If you get to identify, if you really look around you, what legal service do your family members need, or probably people you hold on high regard, you'll be all too eager to prove your worth, and your passion will grow and you excel. Then the fifth point, I thought I was going to tell you 5 points that would enable you identify your area of interest. The fifth point is what particular need is in particular environment you belong to. Probably you want to provide a solution to a need that is peculiar to the area you belong to. Like the area I belong to, there are a lot of NGOs. Because of that, NGOs usually assign contracts to individuals. Everybody's registering their company, everybody's into company, corporate. So because this, like, that's the particular need in that environment, it can decide to create your area of interest around there because you're trying to solve or provide a legal solution to the need that is arising. Probably in the East, where I serve, property matters are prevalent, land grabbers and all that. And if you decide to specialize in that area, you get clients there too. So these are just the other areas too that can enable you to identify your area of interest. I mentioned 5 areas. Your strengths, if you research, then if you look around you, particular services to your family members or the need in the society, and then if you attend webinars like this where people talk about their areas of specialization, that can also enable you. So with regards to that area of strength, I talked about knowing your strengths. Most companies actually use that as the basis for recruitment, like E&Y, these multinational, the big 4, Ernst & Young. That's actually what they use for they call it strength-based recruitment. They are one of the first companies that started using it. So they tend to recruit candidates based on their area of strength. They assign roles to them based on their area of strength, because you know that if you decide to carry out tasks based on your area of strength, you'll be able to reach your full potential, and you will excel in that area. So pay attention to those points. It will enable you as you progress. As I told you, explore. Ghana as much experience as possible in different areas of law. Probably you say, okay, my principal does not assign you all the duties now. He only gives me litigation. He gives the other person property. Get involved when the other person is handling his own task. Do you get? Like I told you about my colleague that was into corporate, my law. My principal just knew the areas that interested us. So he used to share it according to our areas. He always send me to call the other one property. He just knows how he does it. But whenever they're handling their own, I'll ask them, how do you do it? How do you write letter to CBN? I'll be asking questions. I'll be involved. You get, even, okay, let's assume a Ministry of Justice. Some people say, okay, I'm a Ministry of Justice, is mostly criminal. Fine. Your colleagues in other law firms, private law firms, you also get involved in the tasks that they handle. One of the guest speakers in the very first series talked about that he was a ministry, yet he handled civil matters. He handled different areas of, he was able to handle different areas of law at his first year of practice. So it's very possible to explore, even if your firm does not really engage in those areas. Then I also told you that I'll share 5 tips when you're able to identify your area of interest. How can you build your expertise in that area? How can you build your expertise? How can you sustain that area of interest? How can you break into that area of interest you've identified for yourself? One thing you can do that will enable you to break into that area of interest is you can take courses. Yes, you can take courses that probably you decide to niche on fintech, for example. You can take courses in that area. You can take courses. You can even buy ebooks. I told you about business advisory that I wanted to specialize in. I had to buy an ebook. Then my friend also gave me another ebook on business. I had to read about it because I wanted to specialize in that area. So it's very possible that if you identify your area of interest, it's advisable to research more on that area in order to grow your expertise in that. Then you can even buy ebooks that will enable you to grow your expertise in that area. There's something else you can do too, is to volunteer. When I said to niche on business advisory, I volunteered for an NGO. I was like, okay, the NGO actually empowers youth to start up their businesses. So I was like, okay, I would offer free legal services. Like when it comes to giving you advice, I'll offer it free. Then when I want to register your company, I'll do it at a discounted rate. Or if you want to, all these businesses you are training, I'll do it at a discounted rate. So I was getting my cool cash and I was gaining experience in that area. So you can decide to volunteer in that particular field you want to specialize in. Take courses, buy ebooks, volunteer. Then something else you can do is have someone in that particular field that you can always run to whenever you have a brief in that area. Like me, I have so many people in corporate. There's so many people in corporate that I run to whenever I need help. So have somebody, if it's in fintech, have somebody, probably your senior colleague, or someone in another law firm, or however. In fact, this webinar I'm organizing will actually help you to get somebody in that particular area. Like now, when I get speaker comes talking about business advice, you know that I have somebody in that area, I can actually ask questions, so I can connect with her on LinkedIn and all that. So if you want to specialize in a particular area, research, take courses, read ebooks, yes. Have someone in that area, volunteer, yes, 5 points. And then you can even begin to write content in that particular area on LinkedIn or whatever social media you belong to. Most especially LinkedIn, yes, you can begin to write content on that. You may not necessarily write content on that. Can even be a creator. A creator is someone that shares news, any current trends about a particular area. Person that does posting about that in his timeline. So people will be able to trust you. This person is only talking about this, only sharing news about it. So these are things you can do to grow your expertise, to niche down, and also break into a particular area of field you've selected. So this is what I have for you. So now we will call on our guest speaker to talk about business advisory. Modeling Okunade. I'll quickly share her profile before she starts talking. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, but we can't see the picture.
Sorry?
We can see your screen, but not her picture, please.
Okay. Thank you. You guys can see my screen now, right? Sorry about the delay.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Modeling Okunade is the managing partner of a full service law firm where she heads the business and entrepreneurship departments of the law firm. Being her area of specialty, she has helped over 200 entrepreneurs build thriving, legally protected businesses. She's the founder of Smart Logic, an online legal brand and platform on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, where she creates content on legal aspects of business, thus helping entrepreneurs and creatives protect their brands and resolve their business legal and compliance issues. She's also the author of the book, The Ultimate Guide to Understanding Brand Protection, a legal guide for business owners and entrepreneurs. She's fully loaded, though. I brought the best for you guys, the best. Free of charge. So, welcome, modeling. You can say hello. So they get.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, please, we can hear you.
I hear you.
Everyone.
Nade, we're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
So I have a few questions for you
Thank you.
with regards to your area of specialization, business advisory. So how are we able to identify your area of interest? How are we able to do that?
Thank you very much. Hi everyone. I trust we're doing well. Like our coordinator said, my name is Modin Okwade. I'm a lawyer, like we all know. And so the answer to the question, for me, it's always been about creating positive impact and value. I believe that being a lawyer is something that was given to me by God and should be used for just positive impact. So if I decided or I have decided to become a business advisor or decided to go into entrepreneurship law or corporate practice, the first thing that should be on my mind is the value, the impact I'm going to create in that sector. So the first thing that informed my decision to go into that area of law, firstly, this is not just the area of law I specialize in. Business advisory, entrepreneurship, yes. I do a bit of maritime. I do corporate practice, yeah. So the first thing that informed my decision was to create positive impact. It's it's easy to just say, oh, I want to be a lawyer because I like being a lawyer. But beyond being a lawyer, what do you want to do with that gift? Because I see law or the crown of being a lawyer as a gift from God. Um, and it should be used wisely for his glory and again to impact positively in your society. So the first thing was the impact. The second thing, or the second factor that informed my decision was what I enjoyed doing. I love to advise people. I love to make sure everything is okay for people, business wise, individuals. So it was something that occurred to me naturally. I didn't have to struggle with it. It was something I could do. You wake me up from sleep and say, I have an issue on this aspect of law. What do you think I can do? And I can tell you things to do without even having to flip through books. It was something that was easy. I enjoyed doing it. And I knew that I was going to create value and create impact, like impact people's lives and businesses positively. So these two things, aside money, because to be honest with you, money is important, right? But money it's not really the answer to everything. For me, I could have money and I don't have happiness. I could have money and I'm not creating value. You won't find me in that environment. You won't find me in such a situation. So for me, it was about impact and it was about doing something I love doing without getting bored because I hate I hate monotony, like same process all over. So for me, it was impact and what is it called? Doing something I love doing. So
Since our network is thank you, Modley. Are you done? I think my network
yeah,
was bad. All right. Exactly.
yeah,
That's the point. As I said earlier, what do you enjoy doing? So it was something she enjoyed doing and she found joy in it. It was not always about money. You know, I told you to remove money out of the equation. Remove money first and niche down what you enjoy doing, what comes easy to you. So that's what enabled Modley, our guest speaker, to niche down what's her area of interest. So Modley, can you also tell us how you're able to build your expertise in that area of law that you're able to identify for yourself? How are you able to build the expertise? How are you able to sustain your area of interest?
okay. So First of all, as starters, or when I started, my dad is a lawyer, right? But a lawyer in other what practice areas, not really business. He does negotiation, he does oil and gas, and the likes, litigation, and the likes. So what did I do? I come from a legal background, right? But not such that I've had a lot to offer in terms of my areas of interest, right? So I'm a voracious reader. You read books. As a new week, you are, I don't know, if you don't, not everyone is opportune to work in a full service law firm, right? It's not a bad thing. You're just starting. It's, for me, I see it as part of your success story. You might start in a one man law firm, like sole proprietorship, and you find that where you are, what they do is just litigation. But deep down in your heart, you know that, oh, this is not really what interests me. How do I seek out all my areas of interest? How do I develop myself while also giving value to the law firm where I work in? Because I don't believe that, okay, because I don't love litigation, um, and I work in a law firm that it's solely focused on litigation, I have to just not give value there. No, you can give value where you are and still look for ways to what is it called? Get what you want. Like look for ways to advance your areas of interest. Yeah. So what I did first, I read books. When I talk about business advisory, it's not just about business incorporation. We talk about intellectual property. We talk about business funding. And these things are not just things that you can find in a regular law firm. You have to read books. You have to attend webinars such as this one, like MBA webinars. You attend webinars by serious colleagues who are in that line of practice. You attend international webinars, you read about trends in the area that interests you. Mind you, while also giving value to that law firm or company or as an organization where you find yourself in. So I read books, I still read books, I keep reading books. I attend webinars, I still attend webinars. I've attended lots of webinars. I take courses online. I'm currently doing one on fintech from Coursera because fintech is because I'm more inclined into corporate practice and banking. Fintech is an area that I already picked interest even before it got so it's getting famous now, it's getting popular. But before then I already picked interest because I stumbled a few years stumbled on it a few years back, few courses from international schools. So you have to read, you have to attend webinars, you have to seek out ways to improve yourself. If you have colleagues in law firms, in companies where they do things that relate to your areas of interest, you have to seek out that, oh, can I get this? Have you guys done something like this? Can I see the paper? You keep it, you read it, you form, you have your own mini library, right? No knowledge is a waste. Okay, now you're working a law firm where you don't have the opportunity yet to explore that practice area. Tomorrow you could get into a bigger law firm where things will get better for you. And just say, oh, you said you're interested in this area of law. Come and show us what you've got, right? So you read, you attend webinars, you take courses online courses. You take courses online. You speak to people who are already experts in that sector. Talk to your friends, talk to your colleagues, talk to seniors, reach out to people. Even if you're a lawyer, you're interested in banking, like regulatory compliance. There are people who work in banks who are in charge of regulatory with compliance sectors who are not lawyers. You can reach out to them. So you don't just sit and say, oh, I'm interested in this, but I don't know how to do it. Do these things that I have said because they have worked for me and they keep working for me. And trust me, you excel in that area of interest.
Thank you so very much. So it's a continuous process, guys. You never stop doing your expertise in the area of interest you decide to create a niche on, right? Thank you, Maudlin. So another question we have for you is corporate practice. We know it's broad. So can you, I won't say summarize, can you tell us the scope of legal services a corporate lawyer can offer his clients, and the scope, the entirety?
Okay, corporate practice, corporate practice. Um, so business advisory, it's also a part of corporate practice. You know, in Nigeria, they talk about business incorporation. I don't like to call it CAC words. You know what I mean? Business incorporation, where you talk about how to start up a business legally, because it's just it's there's more to it than just registering a business and a company. You have to know how to structure it right. So, what is it called? The business incorporation. There is mergers and acquisition. This is another area of interest for me. And if you find yourself loving that area of law, you can check out MBA. A few months back, MBA had this continuous legal education where they had so many webinars and teachings on mergers and acquisition and the likes. So mergers and acquisition, business advisory, banking too is a part of corporate practice. Compliance, regulatory compliance is a part of corporate practice. And I think that and some other ones, if I can still remember, I'll tell you. But this I know, what's it called? Company secretariatship, yeah, regulatory compliance, business incorporation, banking and finance, right? And then if you work in companies where you advise on issuance of shares, it's also a part of corporate practice. The companies who advise companies like MTN on how to issue shares, from the right form to taking it up to the stock market, a capital market practice is also a part of corporate practice. So these are the major ones that we have in Nigeria now that are thriving. The major ones that we have in Nigeria now that are thriving.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, specifically on business advisory now.
Yeah.
What particular task or briefs do lawyers in that area usually get, and how can they approach it? Like, what are some of the tasks or duties they're expected to perform as a business advisor? Can you explore more on that, especially business advisory? I think that's where our area of interest is. Yes. What particular task? What particular task or yes, duties? What's the everyday life of a business lawyer?
Okay. So it depends on type of clients you get. So I'm going to give this scenario using a foreign client. Let's say a foreign company wants to come into Nigeria to set up a business. Setting up a business in Nigeria, there is more to it than just registering your company. So let's say a tech company who is into software and the likes, intends to come into Nigeria to set up a business in Nigerian branch. What you do as a business lawyer, or what they need a business lawyer to do, is first of all, you talk about the company registration, incorporation. What type of business do they need to set up? Why they need to set up that type of business? What intellectual property rights do they have? You help them identify it. What do they have? How can they protect it? Right? So the business law sector is a bit infused. You need to have a bit of intellectual property knowledge. You advise them on, okay, this is how you register, this is the type of company you need to register. These are the intellectual property you need to have and protect as a company. You also have to advise them on how to set up the best thing for their business. Now, you do this working in hand with HR personnel. That's when we talk about employing the right thing. So you remember you've advised them on the type of business they need to set up. You've advised them on business regulations in Nigeria that are likely to affect their business. You advise them on tax, right? You tell them the type of taxes payable in Nigeria, how they can go about it, what they need to know. Talk about VAT, talk about payee, talk about company income tax, you talk about companies and allied matters act, you tell them about the CAC and everything. Then you talk about intellectual property protection, which is very important, which is very key to their success in Nigeria and the success of their business. You talk about hiring the best team. talk about hiring the best team, how to employ the best team, how to protect themselves, why they're employed, why they're hiring the best team, and the like. So my typical day when I get this like this is to start from, oh, this is a company. This is what do you need to do? This is the type of company which register the pros and cons of such a company. And then I go ahead to advise on intellectual property. I go ahead and advise on what's employment, talk about taxes, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you. So it's not just, it doesn't just stop at incorporating the company. From what?
It doesn't at all.
Okay.
It doesn't at all because you must have a knowledge of everything that is infused in your area of practice. Everything that is infused. You even talk about, you go ahead to talk about consumer protection. You go ahead to talk about consumer. If you're going to have customers, if you're going to be in this area, these are things you have to compete and compete right with things that you it's not just about company incorporation. You must have knowledge of things that are infused in this practice area because you can't just advise your clients on, oh, you just need to register a business. They have come to you as a lawyer, the lawyer is supposed to have knowledge on little, and you have little knowledge on almost everything. Your client comes to you believing that you are only lowest, you know it all. So you should have knowledge of everything. You might not be an expert in tax. I'm not an expert in tax law, but I know the present tax regime and I know what the law says on it because I need to advise my clients on it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I am an intellectual property law expert. Yeah, it's okay. I tell them about trademarks. I tell them about what's the called
Copyright.
there's a copyright definitely when they want to talk about books and but basically trademarks. Yeah, basically trademark and what is it called? Their design, production of designs and everything. So you need to have a bit of everything. That's why as a lawyer you keep reading, you keep consuming. You don't just say, oh, because I'm interested in tax, everything I have to do has to be tax. Yes, you're interested in tax, you know a lot about tax, but you should know a lot about every other aspect of law that you don't even know when it's going to come to you with a tax question that has a bit of everything in it. For you to give a sound advice, you should have a bit of everything in you. Have a bit of what is it called? Corporate practice, have a bit of intellectual property, have a bit of mergers and acquisition. Just know it. Keep that. No knowledge is a waste. Read, keep the knowledge. You never know when it comes. So that is it.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you for covering the scope of legal services a corporate lawyer is expected to offer to his clients. Having a bit of everything is very important so that your advice will be accurate, basically. Nothing is left out. So is there any particular skill that a lawyer who decides to verge into the corporate world needs to have in order to succeed? Any skill?
Yes, yes, yes. The first one is you must be a good listener, right? You must be a good listener. So your client comes to you, not all you're not going to court. You have to listen. While your client is talking, you're able to point out, oh, this is this is an aspect of law that will come into play. This is a regulation that is likely going to affect him. You're listening, right? You're not interjecting, but you're also putting everything together in your head. Because you have to be a good listener. It is very important. Then you have to be, I say, you have to be, um, let's say, a good negotiator and a good advisor. When you are advising, you should you must know how to give a concise advice that is concise and complete. So you're advising someone, you don't just talk from Jerusalem to Egypt, you're just talking and talking. You can prepare an opinion that has everything, but can be a two-pager, can be a one and a half page, but you're able to hit the point on the head. So you must know how to write, you must know how to communicate, you must be a good listener, and to be able to negotiate, right? Because most corporate practice scenarios of matters, there are times when you have to speak for your client. You go for meetings, right? You have to speak for your client. So you know how to negotiate. You know how to negotiate from a position of power, a position of value. So your negotiation team must be top notch. Your was communication skills, not just speaking, your writing skills must know how to write and concise and complete opinions. You must know how to listen. Yes. These are the skills that I use every day and they work for me.
Thank you. Listening and
You're
giving
welcome.
concise advice. Exactly. Thank you so very much. So I have two more questions for you. Bear with me, just
Yeah,
two
yeah.
more.
No, no,
So
no, no.
how were
It's
you able
okay.
to break into this field? How were you able to break into this particular field of law, corporate practice? Can you give us any advice, any tips that can help anyone here that decide to break into it? How can such a person do that?
Okay. So for me, these are as an individual, you know things that come to you naturally. Things that you don't have to push, you don't have to struggle to excel. I mean, every individual has that aspect. So back in uni, when most of my classmates didn't really like company law, I enjoyed company law. I mean, it was easy. It was cool. I made the best grades in company law. It wasn't something I struggled with. So you have to identify this thing that okay, this is not. You identify that area where it is very easy for you, very easy. You don't have to struggle. Your mates are struggling at that to just do a task. You have done 3, 4 tasks because it's very easy for you. So for me, before I could even break into this area of law, I knew that oh, this is something that comes to me naturally. In law school, while people were trying to shoot from corporate law questions and classes, I was doing well in them because, again, it is something that comes naturally to me. After law school, I served in what is it called? I served, first of all, I was posted to Ministry of Justice and I was then reposted to INEC. So I served in INEC. We did mostly election petition. But then again, I'm not a litigation person. I'm very good at drafting, so I'll draft all the papers. But I, I don't enjoy litigation per se because I feel it's not something that comes naturally to me. So while I was in service, I was doing election petition, drafting papers, drafting all the processes. I still found a way to develop myself. So I have friends in the top law firms. I always reach out to them. I get books from them. I get what is it called materials from them. And whenever there is a new law regarding the corporate sector, you can always come to me and I'll tell you about the law because it is something I enjoy. So when the what's called the new companies and other matters came up, I made it a point of duty to finish the act because it is an area of interest and I should be grounded in it. It didn't give me, and in less than a week, I was done. I made my notes and I give my friends this note because this is something I enjoy. So I was able to break it in because it was something that came naturally to me. And I made efforts because I won't tell you that I have found myself in areas that helped me, what is it called? Helped me thrive in my areas of practice. My dad is a lawyer, right? He has a firm in Port Harcourt, but I left home after service, right? I left home after service. It's not my thing to be spoon fed, so I left home after service. I worked in INEC, which did not in any way improve my areas of interest. So I sought out ways to do that. I attended conferences, I attended webinars, I read books, I read laws. After service, I've worked in a law firm that we do maritime for because I had already positioned myself. This is without having some form of guidance per se. I was handling the corporate um sector, what would like the corporate practice of the law firm, the corporate and business practice of the law firm. Now, mind you, back at home, because my dad has seen that, oh, this girl is really good in this. He made me the managing partner, yeah, and then he made me in charge of the corporate and business sector practice of the law firm. So I had this law firm where we were doing maritime majorly. Before I joined, majorly maritime. They were all male. I was the only female, and even though I was very good at preparing maritime processes, excellent, good, but I was I enjoyed doing the corporate part. So whatever corporate briefs that came into the law firm, they were pushed to me, such that when I'm not even around and someone calls my boss for a feedback, they have to wait for me. So what am I saying in essence? As new weeks, you might not be opportune to find yourself in a law firm or in an organization that will help you boost your areas of interest. Yeah, I identified this area of interest because they occurred naturally to me. I don't have to struggle. If you give me any law relating to the capital market, relating to corporate practice in Nigeria, I'll read them and I'll be happy. But give me a what is it called? Criminal law process. Give me a charge. Give me, and you see me struggling. I can be on that document for 2, 3 days, and you'll be wondering why. That's because it's not an area of interest. But yeah, even though it wasn't an area of interest, I still did my best. I would draft the document my colleagues would take to court to go and argue whatever it is you get. So you once you have identified an area that flows naturally to you, because sometimes, let's be honest, the money might not always be there. The money might not always be there. As new we're not all opportunity to work in the top law firms where they pay us so much. Sometimes money is not always the motivation. It is the long term career goal. What you want to be, where do you see yourself in 5 years, in 10 years from now, that keeps you motivated. So once you have identified that this is an area of law that comes naturally to you take out time to read books. You take out time, whatever you know that will help you, that will keep you abreast in that area, that will help keep your interest, like keep that interest burning. You keep even it means webinars, it means attending workshops, attend meetings where you see your mentors in that case. In every area of law, I have come to their mentors that you can always look. If it's litigation, you can look up to Falana and Falana, you can look what's it called? Gadifa of blessed memory. But if it comes to practice, corporate practice, I look at and your body. As for it was a lot of Banwan. These are men that I look up to in corporate practice. So once you have identified an area that comes naturally to you don't have to struggle to survive or to what is it called to excel in that area. Take courses, read books, do things that will help you grow in that career and that will sustain your interest. What that sustain my interest is number one, my career goals. Where do I see myself in 10 years and 5 years from now? Yes, I'm into active practice now, but at some point I intend to be the head of legal of a big venture capitalist company or a big bank or a big company. That is like my major goal. So first of all, what will sustain your interest? Where do you see yourself? What are the long-term goals? I keep saying this, put money aside because as newbies, you have to be honest with it, the money will not be readily available. It wasn't there when I started. I ran away from home. Yeah. I don't know about you. If you're opportunity to have so much money as a newbie, kudos to you. You're an exceptional case. God has blessed you and you should be grateful for that. I'm talking from a realistic point of view. As a newbie, money should not really be the number one factor. Because an area of land that is thriving now might not thrive tomorrow. Back then, litigation was a big thing, but now litigation is not really a big thing. Talk about tech law, talk about fintech. So you talk about look for an area that comes naturally to you. Think about your future career goals. Where do you see your short term and your long term goals? Where do you see yourself 5, 10 years from now? And then you do things, you nurture that interest. When there are books about this area, you read it. When there's a new law about this area, you read it. You read it. If you have questions, you reach out to a colleague. When there are workshops, when there are webinars, just keep improving yourself. That is how I've been able to sustain my interest because I mean, so that is it.
Are you done? Hope I
Yes,
didn't
I'm done.
stop you. Okay, no wahala. From your profile, we saw that you create content around
Yeah.
business advisory. So was that also a way you were able to create visibility for yourself with regards to this particular area, or are there other ways a newbie or a young lawyer that decide to break into that decide to be a business lawyer can create visibility for himself? Are there other ways besides the one, or can you talk more on the particular area that actually helped you boost your visibility?
Okay. The first one is social media. Now I know most people will hold on to the LPA, little what's it called? There's no advertising. Social media, the fact that you have a social media account where you churn out content within your areas of interest, it doesn't mean you're advertising. So social media helps with my disability. I've had companies reach out to me. I've had what is it called? Consultant companies reach out to me just because of what I post on social media. You're not advising. You're not advertising. Sorry, you're just talking from an area of strength. So if you want to boost your visibility in an area of interest, you should utilize social media. But mind you, the way lawyers ought to utilize social media isn't the way other people utilize social media. So there is a thin line between talking from a point of what expertise and advertising. So you should know when to stop so you don't overstep that boundary. But social media is a good tool. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and what is it called? Twitter, if you want to do Twitter. There are good mediums for you to what's it called, show the world what you've got, because I believe that everybody has something in them. So you show the world what you've got, you talk about your area of interest, create valuable content about that area of interest. But remember, do not advertise. You can create content around this area, areas of interest, but do not advertise. It helps with visibility.
Thank you so very much. So finally, so what opportunities are available for those who decide to go into business
For
advisory, corporate lawyers? What opportunities are available for them?
the good thing is that it's an area where you can make side income, right? You work in a law firm, you work in a company, you work in an NGO, but this is an area of interest. You can set up a mini practice on it. You can set up a mini practice on it where you advise your own clients, who most times are entrepreneurs, companies, on business advisory issues. You could even be called as a speaker. So when excuse me, when an organization or an NGO, like what you said, your NGO was the training business owners, and you could be called in as a speaker and you'll be paid for that. So now mind you, you're working in a law firm, you're doing their own practice, you're also running your own thing in line with what you have chosen for yourself, and you're developing yourself. So as a business advisory lawyer, there are prospects for you in intellectual property practice. Yeah, you can be an intellectual property lawyer. I told you must know a little bit of everything and more of intellectual property. you do incorporation, you do due diligence. So, like I said, you advise your clients on company incorporation. You also do due diligence. You advise on employment, right? And then you advise on tax. So, as a business advisory lawyer, you have, yeah, there are opportunities in these sectors that I have told you about. Opportunities in tax, intellectual property, in employment, in due diligence, has compliance and regulation, and then business incorporation. That's it.
We're actually happy that you were able to give us better insights into this particular area of law, coming from what motivated you to choose it. It was a desire to create impact, and it was something that came naturally to you. And we came to see that it's important for you to have an idea of different areas, even if you're not a taxation lawyer, but if you want to really be in corporate practice, a little of taxation, IPL, these are things that will help you to advise your clients properly. I guess Peter spoke extensively on that. And then the skills that are needed, listening skills and being able to write concise advice for your clients is what will help you. And the opportunities are, and how to break into it, actually, how to create visibility using your social media network, LinkedIn, and she advised properly on how you can go about that. So thank you so very much, Maudley. So do you have any question for her? Because we are done with the questioning. Does anyone here have any question with regards to what she talked about? Okay. I doubt if anyone has a question. Fine, it's okay. So thank you so very much, guys, for being here. The pool I was sharing, I think so many persons had already answered some questions on that. Let me see if it's something I can share again. I don't know why it's giving me difficulties. Because so if you gain value from what we learned today, you can do well to, this video will be uploaded on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, New Risk Coaching Series. So you can do well to tell your colleagues about it if you gain value from it. And you can also connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll share the link shortly on the chat box, because when subsequent series is launched, that's actually where I'll share the flyers. There's no particular group where new weeks are gathered, so it will be difficult for me to gather people again. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn so that I would so that you'll be able to see subsequent series that it's launched. So I think in the chat box, the links are already there. So you can do well to copy and paste. And Modly, you can also share your own LinkedIn link so that in case they want to connect with you, some persons here might want to have you as their mentor. So you can also share your link there. And there's a form I'll be sharing with you now, so that you tell me any other area you'd want subsequent series to cover, probably a particular challenge you're facing in legal practice, and you want subsequent series to highlight that. So that form that will be shared shortly is what you can actually use to fill in what other topics or other areas you want me to talk about in subsequent series, right? So do well to fill the form and submit. So I think the form is already going around, and my LinkedIn link too is also going around. So thank you so very much, guys, for being here today. Can you guys see the form, the link for the form? Can you guys see it in the chat box? Or am I talking to myself? Can you hear me?
Excuse me, yes, we can hear you.
All right. So you guys can do well to copy the link to the form and answer the questions there, it will enable me to know what subsequent series should cover. Any other areas you want to know more about, any other challenge you are facing now, subsequent series should be able to cover that. So please do well to fill the form and submit. Connect with me on LinkedIn, as that's where I will be sharing subsequent flyers for other series that are coming. So if you really shared value, really gained value from today's series, nobody's saying that he gained value. Nobody's even writing the chat box. If you gained value, I want to see like 10 values written on the chat box. If you really gained value from today's series, you learned a lot. You're able to learn how you can gain clarity with regards to career path to choose, how you can sustain your interest. If you gain value, I want to see you writing value in the chat box. That's what motivates me actually. And yes, the YouTube channel, do well to subscribe. It's something else too that can motivate me to continue subsequent series, even if it's something I enjoy doing, something that comes naturally to me. But do well to subscribe. Yes, Emmanuel Korede is already writing value. Nobody else is writing. No. Thank you so very much, guys, for being here today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've come to the end of today's series. And yes, the very first series is already in our YouTube channel, New Weeks Coaching Series. The very first series, which highlighted how you can meet the challenges peculiar in the first year of legal practice, is uploaded in the YouTube channel. So do well to visit the channel and enjoy its content in case you missed out on the very first series. The video is there. You can enjoy its content, meeting the challenges of the first year of legal practice. Thank you guys for being here today. Do have a nice night rest. Maudlin, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for having me.
Wow,
Thank you for this opportunity. You can always reach out to me. I'm using my phone, so I don't want to just get this disconnected. But you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. It's just Modin Okwade, the spelling of my name. You can always reach out if you have legal issues. You can connect to me on Facebook. You can send me messages. Not just issues. I noticed from the poll that most people are not interested in maritime and admiralty. Everybody is doing real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate. You know what I've noticed is that most people are scared of delving into other areas that they're not so familiar with. I noticed that from the pool, fashion law had the lowest what's it called? The lowest vote. If you know that is an area of interest, don't be scared. Everyone is doing real estate, right? But is it something you love doing? Is it something that you just, or because everybody's doing real estate and there's money there, you just bam, you want to go in there? Now I noticed that admiralty too, because I'm into admiralty, maritime and admiralty. I noticed that these both are little probably because you don't have mentors, you don't have people in that area of law that you can talk to, you can look up to. You can come to me. Especially when it has to do with maritime, because aside from being a business advisor, I'm a maritime lawyer and I do well in maritime. I've handled so many business because young we I know most of you are influenced by what your friends are choosing. Yes, I know, but think about where you see yourself. They are choosing what they have chosen because they know that this is what they want for themselves. Is that really what you want for yourself? After this section, go and ask yourself questions. Sit down and ask yourself, where do I see myself in 5 years from now? Okon, my friend, has chosen real estate because he loves it. Did you choose real estate because you love real estate or because you have nobody to guide you on the path you think the path you want to choose, but you can't choose because you have no one to guide you on it? If you have other paths that you think there are really no mentors, you can reach out to me. There are mentors on social media. You can reach out to them. Don't just follow the bad ones. Everybody doesn't real estate, yeah. But the other areas of law that are thriving that you can do well. If it's something you love, you don't have to do litigation because everybody is doing litigation. You can excel as a lawyer without even going to court. And it's not every time you go to court that you go to court for a matter, criminal, civil. No. When you're handling a merger and acquisition brief, you go to court to get the court what's it called? The registrar's approval. When you're handling an admiral a maritime brief, you go to court, especially when you want to sell a vessel, so that the court the admiralty marshal will sell the vessel. So when you hit, I don't know. I just want us to think about what we really want for ourselves. It's harder being a new wig in Nigeria where I mean most new wigs are paid peanuts. I was paid peanuts. I don't know. Some of you are working in good firm, but not everybody's opportunity to work in a top law firm. So you have to do things that will make you happy, that are aligned with your career goals. Yes, you explore, but those things that are dear to your heart, hold them close. Hold them close. Do not do things because all your friends are doing, and then do not be intimidated. Because I noticed that most newbies are intimidated because they feel like most of their friends already have it all figured out. Especially when you go on LinkedIn, everybody is sharing. And then you are somewhere looking, this one is speaking big English, this one has already done so, this one has already done so. Do not be deterred. They're not better than you. They're not better than you. They are where they are now. We all have our different times. You're doing good for yourself. You just what you need to do is to improve on that area where you feel okay, you're not doing well. But don't beat yourself too hard, such that you become what's it called? You start second guessing yourself and doubting your ability as a human being or as an individual or someone starting out in legal practice. You see people contesting for this, they've done this, they've done this, they've done this, they've done. Let me give you what is the question. Gloria said she didn't she didn't take any internship. My dad was a lawyer. I had everything at my disposal, but they were begging me to do internship. I refused. It was only until I was like, oh, for this things are very important. My mates have gone. But did it make me second guess myself? No. Your value, you have to hold on to your value. No one is better than you in this illegal sector. As far as I'm concerned, no one is better. They only know it because they've read about it. If you read about it, you will be better than them. Trust me. So build on yourself. Learn to be independent. Think for yourself. Choose what will make you happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Maudlin, for the encouraging advice. I believe you guys learned a lot from all she has said. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.